I had a student reach out to me with a question about 13.3, the last problem in their number 9. And in this problem, we have somebody that's going to borrow $6,000 from a credit union, and she's agreed to pay 36 monthly payments of $219.28 each with an annual percentage rate of 4%. And the question is what would Nadia save in interest if she paid in full at the time of the 18th payment? And the credit union uses the actuarial method in order to come up with that unearned interest. And so we have a couple of formulas that need to be used in succession. One is to determine H, right? And you know H from your work there. So we're going to run a calculation to find H. Once we find H, we then need to use the unearned interest formula with that particular H in there. And so just taking a look at the formula here, the formula that you're going to use to find H is, let me actually get to the pen, H is equal to, and it's a little bit big, N times R over 12 times 100, all divided by 1 plus, open parentheses, 1 plus that same R over 12, the annual percentage rate, to the negative N, and then off to the side is a minus 100 to bring it back down and get H in reality. And so as we take a look at how we compute this, just reaching for a calculator here, we got to plug in the numbers that make sense for our problem. So the question is what's N going to be? Well, N actually does not have to appear in the problem. We have to figure it out. N is going to be the number of remaining payments, because that's where she's going to save her interest, is because she doesn't have to do these other payments. So the number of remaining payments, not the number of payments she's making total. Otherwise, H would be the same as in the beginning, but it's different because I'm going to pay the 18th payment. Now, the 18th payment, we had a total of 36. So N was 36, but we're taking 18 off. So in this case and in this case only, N is also 18 because she's basically paying it halfway into the program. But I just wanted to stress, N's not 18 because she paid it at the 18th payment. It's because there's still 18 more payments left. So for example, if she paid at the 12th payment, there would be 24 remaining payments, and we would be using 24. So now we're ready to solve H because we have our number of remaining payments. They gave us the 4% right from the beginning, and then the 100 is always there. I'm going to use some parentheses here just to not lose the multiplication that's needed. And I have a mistake. I just realized as I was writing this, it's actually 1 minus in that formula. So it's 1 minus 1 plus R over 12 to the negative 18, and then a minus 100 after the fact. So now we're going to plug this in. We should get a number in the low digits, 10, 9, somewhere in there. So 18 times 0.04 divided by 12 times 100. And then we're going to divide that by, open parentheses, 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, close those parentheses, raised to the negative 18. I'm going to hit equals, and then I'm going to subtract 100. And when I do, I get an H that's reasonable. 3.196, and it just keeps going. H's are dollar amounts, so H would be rounded to the nearest dollar, and they would say H is $3.20. Now, H isn't our final answer. She didn't save just $3.20 in interest. H is this multiplier that's needed in a larger problem. So again, some of the issues may be how you're plugging this into the calculator. So how I plugged it into the calculator, just in case that's the issue, I plugged it in as 18 times 0.04 divided by 12 times 100. And then I hit equals to make sure it was going to do all of that. Then it showed me an answer, but I didn't retype it or write it down. Then I immediately hit an open parentheses typed in 1 minus, open parentheses, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, close those parentheses, raised it to the negative 18, and then hit equals again. That gave me a number slightly over 100, so then I subtracted 100, hit equals, and that's where I saw my 22549 number, and which I know is 320. So knowing how to use that calculator to your advantage is definitely something you want to do. So now we know, what did we get out of all of this? We got an H value that we can use in an unearned interest formula that would show the amount of interest that she saves. So the unearned interest formula for the actuarial method is this. U is equal to KR H all over 100 plus H. And so there's a variable in there. K is the number of remaining payments. So just like it was before, K is 18. So U is equal to 18. Now R stands for regular monthly payment. We haven't used that yet. That's the $219.28. So $219.28. Let me stop right there. What that's calculating is how much money she's not giving the bank over the next 18 months. Because over the next 18 months, she has to give $219.28, $219.28, every month for 18 months. That's the total amount of payments. This fraction helps us determine how much of that was for interest. And so H, we just figured out, was 320 all over 100 plus 320. And we're almost done, right? So what I would suggest to do before you run it into your calculator is make it easy on yourself. So if you notice so far, I'm just copying. And so I'll move to a blue pen to highlight what I'm doing different. And all I'm doing is adding the $103.20 for $103.20. If I make that just small adjustment, there's no way I can mess it up in my calculator because I'm just one big happy multiplication division family. So now I'm going to type in 18 times 219.28 times 3.20 divided by 103.20. And here's the number that comes out. U is equal to 122.388, and it just keeps going. So the unearned interest is $122.39. That is the answer to the question, because the question was, how much interest did she save? The unearned interest from the bank is $122.39. That's how much she saved in interest, whatever that unearned interest number is. Hopefully this helps. I appreciate you watching the video. Good luck, and reach out if you have questions.